And welcome back to the channel. So what I've got happening today is we've got this little Nissan Juke. It's a 2014, so it's the F15 with the petrol engine, as you can see by the coils. So the customer complaint with this one is it became a crank no start. Sometimes it would fire up, sometimes it wouldn't. So when it does fire up, it cuts out after a couple of seconds. So we've been asked to attend this one at one of our trade customers and run our test just to confirm the fault. So let's crack on with this one and let's get this one diagnosed together. So first thing we've done is we've hooked up the top-down Phoenix X-Link. As always, there's a link in the description for this tool. So if you want to get this tool for a wee bit cheaper, wait till July the 16th/17th and that tool will be available at that discounted price. So first thing we're going to do is do a high speed scan. So if we click on the high speed, and as you can guess, it does the actual system scan a lot quicker than what a normal system scan would do. So it is a good feature. You can see we've got 3 fault codes in the engine control unit that we will need to look into. So the battery is getting a little bit low. You can see it's just sitting at 11.36, so we might need to hook up a maintainer to this. Obviously the car's been getting cranked previously, that's what's drained the battery. So we'll let this, it's obviously not got the TCM, so that's why it's taking a little bit longer. So what we can do is just pause that, because we don't need it to scan the TCM, it isn't there. So we'll click on engine control unit and we'll go into read fault codes. So we have got a camshaft position A, bank 1, a camshaft position actuator, bank 1, and a fuel pressure regulator, which is all past faults. So we've either got, well, by the sounds of the fault codes, we've obviously got a fuel pressure issue, possibly. We've also got two fault codes for camshaft position. So have we got a camshaft position sensor fault as well? Or have we got a timing issue? We don't really know yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear these 3 fault codes. So we'll save a picture, which is a nice easy thing to do. We'll save a picture, we'll clear all the fault codes, crank the car, hopefully the battery's up to it, and then we'll do a rescan of the car and see what comes back. Or we might just look into live data and see what fuel pressure we've got. Not too sure what the fuel pressure should be on this little petrol engine. I don't even know what size engine's in it yet. I'll need to look that up. But yeah, that's what we're going to do next. So let's crack on with it. So we've already saved a picture, so we'll just clear the fault codes. And as you can see there, clear fault memory is completed. So we will go into data stream and see what available PIDs is available. So let's go into fuel rail pressure. May as well click on fuel pump relay as well. What the hell. And we'll see if we can do a camshaft/crankshaft synchronization, which we've got right there. We'll go down to see if we can get engine speed as well, and you can see it does give you exhaust camshaft position data PIDs as well, but we're not going to touch them at the moment. We're just going to focus on these 3 data PIDs. So what we're going to do is we're going to crank the car, see if that fuel pressure rises, see what the engine speed is, and see if this value changes for camshaft crankshaft synchronization. So we'll zoom in and we'll crank the car now. Now, I don't think you would have heard that, but that was a very rattly noise there coming from that engine. And it did start up. The fuel pressure went up to 40 bar. The camshaft crankshaft synchronization, that also said that was okay, but it sounded very, very rattly, which obviously isn't good. So we'll show you in the engine bay what this sounds like. Hopefully the camera will pick it up. but I'm not going to leave this running for too long because it is very, very, very noisy, so let's do that. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. I'm hoping you can, but there is quite a bit of a rattle coming from that area. So that doesn't sound normal to me, or maybe I'm just imagining it, but I can definitely hear a rattle coming from there. Now this car is suffering from timing chain rattle. Now we suspect that this has got a failed tensioner. Now just to confirm that, what we've done in the next clip is remove the camshaft sensor and wait till you see what is on the end of that camshaft sensor. So due to the fact that the engine had that rattle, so what we've done is we've removed the oil cap just to see how much loose the actual chain is, and if you touch it with a screwdriver you can see that there is quite a bit of play in there, so there's definitely a timing chain tensioner failure on this car. But just to confirm that, what we've done is we've removed the camshaft sensor, and I'll spin you around here and we'll show you what that looks like. So you can see that we've already removed the bolt, and this will just slide out. So what have we got? We have got loads of metal shavings stuck onto that camshaft sensor. Now where are those metal shavings coming from? The timing chain. So I'll spin you around again. Now this car has had major lack of maintenance. As you can see there, this oil cap is just sludge. And if you look inside the rocker cover, it's as if someone's filled that up with black grease. So I'm actually trying to block out the wind as much as possible here, but this is just a windy place to be. So you've seen there that that oil cap is more or less congealed with oil. This has not had good service history, definitely not, and we'll show you why we know that. But what's happening is those metal shavings coming from the actual timing chain being loose is making its way into the oil through the engine and obviously getting stuck to the actual camshaft sensor itself. That's why we took that out, just to see what's on the end of it, and you can see the amount of metal shavings is unbelievable. So this Nissan Duke unfortunately was overdue a service by 8,000 miles, so that is why the oil was that sticky, congealed sort of crap that you've seen on the oil cap. So lack of maintenance, that's what it's going to get you. So we're going to move on to a little Mercedes that I've also got to look at for this garage. So this one hopefully won't be a lack of maintenance issue, but let's crack on with this. We're on to this one, so we've not actually finished the video yet, but we're on to this one here, which is a Mercedes. So we've plugged into it and we've got the famous Mercedes engine management light on. So this one is experiencing a lack of power. So this has actually turned into a second job, which isn't too bad. So what we've done is we've scanned the car for fault codes. So if we're going to read fault code, we'll just, okay, click on to read fault code, and what we've got, if we spin these around, we have got a P0237. The boost pressure sensor has a short circuit to ground. So best way to tackle this, check live data, see what the boost pressure is showing at the moment. Obviously it's got a fault with the sensor or the wiring, so the live data will be reporting wrong, more than likely. Once we've done that, easiest way I find to test sensors, which you can rule out the wiring pretty quickly, the actual sensor is being the problem, is just using the decade box. A decade box basically just mimics the resistance of what's going on, and that will send data back to the ECM, and the ECM can work that out, and it should change on live data as long as our wiring is good. So we'll go back out of this, and we'll go to data stream, and you can see it gives us a check boost control, which is absolutely fine. So we'll go into boost pressure sensor B5/1, and you can see at the minute we're reading 0.8 bar. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out there. Hopefully you'll still be able to hear me with this mic on because it is extremely windy outside. We are going to go out to the vehicle, connect up the decade box, and we'll show you how easy it is to test these sensors. And obviously we'll not get the repair done today because this is for a garage, so we'll be able to diagnose it. We'll show you the process, so let's do it. So hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. So right now what we've done is we've unplugged, so this is a boost pressure sensor B5/31. So we have unplugged that. You can see that it's got a genuine sensor, which is probably the OE sensor that it came with. So this is a 15 plate. So what we're going to do is we've got a decade box here, and all the switches right now are outputting as in up. So at the moment they are shown out, which means the resistance will be 0 ohms. So on this wiring, we'll just zoom in for you. You've got a red, and we've got a grey and white. If I can focus on that a bit better. So we've got a red and white, a blue in the middle, which is your ground. You can probably hear it is extremely windy. A blue and brown, which is in the middle, and we've got a grey and white tracer. Now your grey and white tracer is your 5V reference, and the red and white is your feedback voltage going to the PCM. So all we need to do is connect up our decade box, put it on 20k, and see if the data changes on live data. I'm hoping you can see my face a bit dull there, and see if data changes on the live data itself. So you can see we've got our 2 leads here. We're just going to connect them up. Try and do this one-handed. I don't need to put the camera down. So they're connected up in there. And the whole purpose of me getting this camera was so I could sit it down, but I'm obviously too used to just holding the camera. So right now we are still showing the default value of 0.8 bar. So if you can see there, I'll try and zoom in, the glare's a bit. So we're still showing 0.8 bar. So all we need to do is set this to 20k, and if you guys just watch the reading there, so if we set it to 20k, you can see the data changes. So what does that mean? That means that the wiring is fine. The decade box is mimicking the resistance, so the wiring is absolutely fine. The ECM's able to interpret that data, I can't really say that word. So the actual decade box itself is sending that signal back. The ECM's receiving it, and it's able to change that on the live data, so that can confirm that we've got a faulty boost pressure sensor. So a fairly simple job. Like I say, these decade boxes, that's a dearer one that I've got, but you can get them for quite cheap. But yeah, so that's us done on that one. That was fairly simple. So let's move on to another one, which we have got a MAN. I believe this one has got a door that's been replaced. That's by another trade customer that we've got. It's a body shop, and unfortunately the windows and all the electrical sort of functions on that side are no longer working. So we'll need to look at that one. But yeah, if you've got one of these Mercedes and you need to test the boost pressure sensor, obviously you can just replace the sensor if you want, but if you want to test it, make sure the wiring's fine and the PCM's fine, then a decade box is definitely the way to go.